psychologically. Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome back to Practising Programming. You can see where we're just picking up where we left off a few hours ago. Had a look at the code since we last did the stuff, and I've spotted that we are missing a little bit of something. Yeah, and also we needed to make somebody do more stuff, didn't we? I think it was determined. It was this function we needed to make take another accumulator. Yeah, but after having done the generation's worth of stuff, I reckon this is supposed to actually happen before we do the generations, right? And then, if I'm not mistaken, what you need to do is it's basically this down here. Now this is a case where we have got that first landmark, isn't it? So I guess we could just pull it out. Where did I pull that from? Okay, let's go to look at the first landmark. Where's this call? And this is just going to be first landmark plus that. So this is going to be the same deal actually. And then you just want to write out from the landmark the size of a DB landmark. Running asset landmark counts. Take away the running landmark index. And then you don't cycle because just let that continue. Oh right, yeah, the byte, yeah. Am I computing that correctly? Sorry, yeah, we are. I think we got that wrong first time. We just didn't parenthesize that thing correctly. So that'll basically that'll ensure that we output the remaining generations worth of stuff. So the first call here yeah, so right. If any of these write functions fire, or rather, if this fires, then we're going to write out all the stuff. This landmark, yeah. I think we might actually want to wrap this whole lot within this, only so that we can 100% make sure. I mean, it might not matter because these probably just happen as a natural byproduct of this being, I was having one of these, but I think we will be a bit, we'd be advised to actually make sure that we only do them in the case that we've got one, because that would mean that this would fire, and it'd write all the stuff up to that actual thing. So let's do that. And then, oh, Wait, that's a loop, is it? Does that actually matter, I wonder? Not sure. But let's make this function here take another bit of information. We can come back to that little question in a bit. So we've got the main act, we've got this act over there. Let's give ourselves a prev act. And it's not strictly speaking just the immediate prev thing, it's kind of like the prior one. But if you look at this, they all line up like nice little soldiers, so might like to go with that. I think that's what we want. So I'll basically offset people by their preceding people. So these calls, what we're basically saying is that this should be following the local act, so that means this person should be passing nothing, but this person should be passing a local act, is that right? I think that's right. Did I do the other thing? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a bit of a question, like, should I bother to pull this stuff out into its own function in a similar manner to have pulled this out into its own function? I suppose I don't need to bother because it's only getting called once. I mean, this guy is also only getting called once. So it probably doesn't matter in the slightest. Doesn't make any change to the actual executed stuff. So let's try it. What was that? Oh, that was for Asaf's happy birthday. I think he reached his 40th birthday during Handmade Hero. To remove that, we deleted that, so we now need to go to the Cinera.conf, get these dudes back in. Good evening, daughter. Oh, you said that. Said it ages and ages ago. So now, I think we've got the breakpoint still there, have we? Yeah. So let's see what we've been presented with. Don't do this. What is sensible to look at? I guess this range and yeah, we could just step past all of those dudes. So what have we got? I think first time round it's actually nothing, isn't it? So yeah, and this range should also, by a similar token, be nothing. Yeah, let's just continue until we know whether we've got something. And this is only if it's the current generation. Yeah, so that's all still okay. And then we loop to the next generation. Yeah. So here we go. Should have some more stuff. So this landmark is generation 1, index 6. And the local ACK landmark is generation 1, index 5. Yes. So basically what we're trying to do here is swap this and local ACK. That's essentially what we're trying to do. Let's have a look at the ranges as well. That looks more like it. Previously, because we didn't offset the which one was it? This by the local ACK people. We were ending up with the same first. But that's perfectly legit now that we've done that, I hope. And this also is telling us that the first landmark of this comes after the local ACK, which is what we'd expect if we're going to be reordering. So here we go. Now, before coming onto this function, before coming to this loop, so we wrote up to the assets, to the first asset, didn't we? Okay, now we're still going through this first asset, and we haven't written out anything for it, so I believe that this, the byte, should be positioned correctly in terms of this function here. Right. I think we're right. So what we're doing is we're writing up to the local ACK landmark, which is the first landmark here. We're setting the running landmark index to be that local ACK. And also, let's just remind ourselves, local ACK, the first is prior, yeah. Yes, so we write up to that, then we don't write out the local ACK actual stuff, we write out this stuff, don't we? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm still convinced that that's okay. Then we go over this range length. Now, yeah, we do just, these indices, we do literally just swap the two dudes over, don't we? So for this generation, let's just see. The local ACK, this is going to be the local ACK is prior, isn't it? So it should be bitwise and P. So I believe bitwise only has one entry in its generation, and I reckon when we look at this ACK, this is risky business. Which should have 3 people in this generation. Yeah, perfect. So that's all working as I would imagine. So it's getting a new landmark here. It's dereferencing this. We are incrementing this as we go. If that gen index is less than the local ACK count, which is only checking that the local ACK, we're not going to crash when we actually test. We're not going to crash when we try and index into this value. Essentially, that's what that's saying. So we've done that, decremented that. Yeah, it sounds fine because we're outputting something that should be coming before it used to be, essentially. So it refers to something that it used to think was higher up. And then we write it, increment the byte along. Okay, yeah, so I think I'm satisfied that that is doing it the right thing. The local ACK landmark, we're now talking about bitwise and P, moving those guys so that they are after this. So incremented by 3, isn't it? No, does that sound right? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because we used to have bitwise and risky, so we had bitwise with 1 and risky with 3. So basically we've subtracted 1 from risky, so that's now sitting there. We now need to add 3 to bitwise, so that'll be sitting up there. And when I say sitting up there, what I mean is it's like referring to a child. It's referring to a product in the products block, which is 3 spaces up from where it used to be. So local ACK landmark. Yeah, I think that's right. And then each time through, increment the byte by the size of that. So having gone through both of these loops, although the byte is going to be kind of pointing at stuff that doesn't relate to either of these things, once we get down to here, the byte will actually be lined back up again. And the only reason we actually loop here is to make sure that we're only outputting the landmarks of the current generation. That's the only reason we're looping. If we had the full generation range, then we needn't loop. We could just sort of say, write out from the running landmark index until, tell you what, actually we're not incrementing the running landmark index. Are we? Yeah, we're not doing that. So, yeah. That's broken. So basically we should be operating on the running landmark index directly, shouldn't we? Screw I. Just operate on the running landmark index to make sure that that's incrementing, so that when this guy comes down, that'll be correctly done. So let's just fix that. 10355. So we're not going to be dealing with this. We're incrementing that, incrementing the tail landmark itself as well. And then when we come down to here, the running landmark index will be in its correct position. And we'll be able to output, after having looped over all of the generations that we need to loop over, we can just do this. So I think that's more correct, or less incorrect, if you like, whichever way you like to put it. I like how kind of mashing the keys there sort of did succeed in deleting the stuff before giving the that little menu. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to do the config. Try that again. Let's just make sure that we have still got the stuff gone. Okay. So there's everybody. Presumably that's there too. Back into reorganized projects, and I think we could just jump right down to here, really. Or right down to the tail landmark, even, because we got right down to there, didn't we? Conceivable this isn't an actual landmark. It is a landmark, but so that's for generation 1, index 0. Yeah, that's fine. So this is the first time through when those people didn't do anything, because we're on gen index 1, 0. Right, gen index 0. Let's continue through again and again. So that's now going to be looking at generation 2. Yeah, which that's great. If we just do this, is that looking at generation 1? Yeah, it is. So that's told us that we shouldn't actually do anything in this loop, right? By chance, we've actually got to the end of this generation, which we need to test. We do need to make sure that that is actually working right. But I anticipate that we're not actually going to get into here because we're going to fail this test. So yeah, we've got back to the end of the thing. We're looking at gen index 2 now. And there's going to be some stuff for risky, but not for bitwise. So what does that mean? I think that just means that doesn't that just mean that we can write the entire generation out? Just follow it through. Because we should basically see, I think, that this landmark ain't set. Blimey, okay. Oh, sorry, yeah, this is risky. So yeah, it's local like that, it won't be set. So effectively, we're not going to do this. But can't get into that either. Now, this ACK, I think we need to protect this against crashing, don't we? Right? We're not going to get into here, but in the same way that we're protecting this from crashing, you know, indexing into that, I think we need to do the same thing down here. Now, this, so this is risky. Right. And we are, yeah, okay, so we are checking against this. So I would have thought that we're not less than that, are we? So we can't increment that. And we're effectively outputting it unmodified, aren't we? Right, because we're not going to be able to offset that, which is perfectly fine. So maybe we're just alright. maybe we're okay. And it's this loop that we're not going to get into. Because the local Lagrange has no length. And then the tails. Okay, so that didn't do anything either. That was books. I think that was the last generation. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? So the last generation that we need to be talking about. So the running landmark index is 560. What is the asset landmark count? Make sure that doesn't look anything too out of the ordinary. Yeah, and it's the same. So that landmark is going to be set to something garbage, but this F right ain't going to be able to write anything because that, take away that, is 0. And then we're going to increment past that number of thingies. I mean, we could look at the actual landmark, although it won't be particularly instructive. Yeah, it's just nothing. And then we skip the asset. And we just do the same thing again. So for all the assets, we just do exactly what we just did. So yeah, unless I'm very much mistaken, we've just nailed it. Chat, risky. So Bitwise is gone. Bitwise hasn't gone. Bitwise, right, it's just been reorganised down there. Yes, because we haven't got down to the delete people yet. And Bitwise will also be in here. So let's continue through until we get to the delete area. Wherever that is. What is that returning? That's returning a true or false, isn't it? We fixed up the S parent and the S child. Done this. Sync projects. Yeah, we just stepped over, so that could have done some stuff, couldn't it? Conceivably. Although it won't have had to do anything really. I mean, it won't have had to reorganise because I know that it will be, well, the way that we've reorganised the config is that it won't have to do that. Okay, so here we go. Should have deletion count of 2, I think, isn't it? To delete bitwise and P. So let's just step right over that. And I think this person does do the thing, doesn't it? Oh, okay, a segfault. In determine project landmass range. Is that because of the... Let's run it again and get down to the thing. Get down to here, and then step into delete projects. So let's just take a look at what we're presented with to start. We're trying to delete the bitwise. Looks okay to me. Right from byte to pointer. Parent. Yeah. So it's dereferencing that parent, decrementing, writing out that, incrementing that. Are we just not fixing up the pointers? Is that all that's going on? See, remember it was the determine thing, wasn't it? It was within here. So cycle sign posted file. Yeah, it's possible that we're just not. Well, yeah, these are pointers happening here. Cycle sign posted file only happens. Well, does it happen in here actually? No. So it was a call within. It was a determined project's landmark project thingies range. It's one of these calls. So let's step on down. So generation 0, index 2, that sounds fine. I can believe that. Yeah, step. If we haven't got an arc landmark, we set it. Increment that. So coming through again. Now what's the arc? Generation 1 index 8. So it's nice to see that the generation's gone up. Generation 1 index 8. Probably talking about bitwise. No. Should we just step? Yeah, we got past that. We've already set that first arc landmark, so we don't need to bother doing anymore. And then we increment by the landmark range length. We accumulate that size. What is the landmark deletion count exactly? Is it like 70 something? Can't remember exactly. 77. So we're going to dereference that asset just so we can delete decrement that landmark count. we're going to write up to that asset. So what have we written so far? Delete lots of brothers and children. Delete what? Delete lots of brothers and children. So this was within here. So we've now written up to the asset. We haven't written out the asset itself, but written up to the asset. Now we're just about to I'm not sure where we are, but we're just about to write up to the asset again. Should we step into this call and see what it actually does? Because that seems a bit busted, doesn't it? If you think about it. Right. This delete product interior. Am I wrong? 10. Yeah, 10094 is the actual call over there. Which is up here. Yeah, let's step in and just see what it does. Because I suspect that we should be sitting at the actual assets already. Yeah, so that's going to write nothing out. Oh. But then it's going to increment this by the... Well, it's going to increment that. It's going to increment that by that, taking that, which is still nothing. Yeah. So, yeah, although that isn't... I mean, we can just make one or the other of those things actually do the right. That shouldn't be a problem. And then we write out the new asset. Increment is along. And now we've got a landmark index of 0. Not exactly sure what we're dealing with here, by the way. Yeah, because we're not talking about projects anymore. We're just talking about the accumulated generations. We are in determine thingamajig here, aren't we? No. Determine periodic landmarks range, I think the function was failing on us. Haven't we been through this before? Yeah, we did it the first time. Right, yeah, so we did that just so we could actually get the, so we could figure out the deletion count. But now we're talking about different deletion counts, aren't we? Yeah, this is a newly initialized deletion count. Is it? Yeah, a gen landmark deletion count. Like, this is the first time in, isn't it? So it's nothing, yeah. It's still nothing. Okay. Oh, shit. Yeah, so we actually do need to do the additional test here, which is if there's no general landmark and the landmark range length is greater than 0. Because otherwise we're going to peel off a landmark that's busted. And then later people will probably try to do stuff. Won't they? What's happening down here? Right from byte to pointer. Yeah, then I think here. We then need to do the check, don't we, if there's a gen landmark. Right? Didn't we do that for the other function? Let's have a quick gander. Reorganize. I think it was here, wasn't it? If there's a local arc. Yeah, only at that point do we do that. Now we then have this thing here. I think we might want to set up a different pointer because we have got that here, have we not? This landmark. Where is this landmark? There's this landmark. This is operating. Landmark index is less than the A landmark count. Yeah, I guess effectively here, this is the tail landmark, isn't it? If you like. Right, where we've done in the other function, we do get this additional thing. So I think we want to do the same idea in the delete function. 100121. Right, if you've got that, they do that, and then it's here. Well, you also need to say what I was saying. We should have that for the other person, shouldn't we? I don't know if I actually spotted that. It's in this function, isn't it? I think. Yeah. Right. And landmark range.length is greater than thing. It's only in that case that we actually set that to pointer. Right, so we need that. Then here, we need to check if we've actually got the gen landmark so we can write, so we can do anything on it. And then let's do a db now. Where are we up to? Landmark index. Might be an idea to call that the running index as well. Mightn't it? Oops. Just to sort of indicate that it's always going on, I guess. I don't know. But then basically that enables you to use this. And then finally, these are like the remaining landmarks. Well, actually, now I think about it, tail landmark isn't really. I'm going to call these the. Just going to switch the name of these dudes. I'm going to say that these guys are the landmark. Aren't I? What's going on here? So we called those the tail landmarks. Do we just write? I'll never do that. These guys were called the local act landmark. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I suppose we could call this the local act landmark. Trouble is, I want to make sure that I'm actually able to operate on something that is available to us. Where are we again? Delete landmark exposure and children. This landmark index, well, that's less than this range. And this is operating on the local arc. It's operating on the local arc. Yeah, okay. Tell you what, let's just marry them up a bit. Well, it's just the one loop, isn't it? So what's it actually trying to talk about? Which one is doing the check against the generation? This is doing a check against the generation. So it's exactly this loop, isn't it? Right? So yeah, I suppose this is just the tail then, isn't it? Right. We do need to get a different dude out, so we don't actually, well, so we've actually definitely got somebody, right? Yeah, and then finally we just do this, go down here. So that was a bit haphazard, but I think that's what you need. Yeah, I do think that would have been a problem. I wonder if we can continue to run though, even after compiling. Because basically, I don't believe that we're going to ever manage to set... Well, actually we are going to set that, aren't we? We're going to set this erroneously. Which I think is the problem, isn't it? Is it? We're going to set that erroneously. Then we're going to try and write out up to it. Increment that by the deletion count. And then we're going to try and increment that gen landmark onwards. Let's continue to do it and just see what gen landmark looks like. Because my suspicion is that it might not look like a landmark. Oh, is it reloaded? Yeah, it has reloaded. That definitely wasn't there, was it? That check wasn't there. So, well, that's the end of that one. Oh, it's just a warning, so yeah, that doesn't actually matter. So what's it saying? Oh right, my breakpoints have got screwed up. So where were they? I think they were just there, weren't they? And it was the deletion, wasn't it? That was the issue. Yeah, again, if you remember, we're still doing this right from byte to pointer up to the asset. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't caring about that, was I? So for each asset, that thinks he wants to write up to the first asset. Yeah, I reckon this is the call to get deleted. Yeah, and then for each asset they just call that. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Doesn't matter because they're located, the first time through they're located at the same place. Why do you know that? Think about it. When you get through here, you should also have actually got to the next asset. So maybe it's this person that shouldn't actually write up the next asset. Do you know what I mean? Because like after we've gone through all of these landmarks, so we've got the asset here, and then we've got the landmarks. And then straight after the landmarks, we've got the next asset, followed by its landmarks. Now, if we've correctly written out all the landmarks, or at least correctly positioned our pointer after all the landmarks, then we're already at the next asset. So every time through this loop, we should actually, well, we should not be writing out any more stuff to the first asset, to the next asset rather. So we failed that, which is fine, I think. We haven't incremented the gen landmark by the gen deletion count. And we've set that to be the landmark index. So the landmark index is, yeah, we have incremented that to here, so I guess that's right. Is 0. Yeah, so we're not deleting anyone from generation 0, which is fine. Now, what's this saying? New landmark, the local arc. I wonder if we need to check that actually. Yeah, we probably do, don't we? Because the could be, well, hang on, which gen index are we looping over here? The current generation. For the local arc. Okay, so we're just talking about the local arc anyway. So that's never going to be a problem for us. We're never going to be able to index into something that we shouldn't index into. Right, so we're talking about gen index 1 now, I think. And there we have it, so we're setting the gen landmark this time. So basically this means that we should be deleting some landmarks for bitwise. So we're going to write up to the first landmark for bitwise. We're then going to skip past this number of landmarks, and similarly do this now. Rather than, well, hang on a minute, what is this actually? That's a 530. I wonder. So there's 31 more landmarks to delete. Different generations. Yeah, that could be fine actually. So, in other words, this doesn't need to happen. We only need the gen landmark deletion count to skip us through the buffer, to skip past the people. And the landmark index should get incremented correctly, I guess. So right into the first landmark. So we're not using that landmark index at first. And then we're setting that landmark index to be as many landmarks for the current project, or for the all the projects in our hierarchy. Yeah, I can buy that. That's okay. Like I said, we don't do this because we don't even use the gen landmark again. No, that's fine, okay, I guess. Different generations, different indices. I can buy that. Which means that this shouldn't do anything, doesn't it? Yeah, it just did that second check and failed it. So I believe we got through all the generations that we care about. The landmark index is set to wherever it is. It would have incremented had it had to do anything. We didn't. So we're now going to write out the remaining landmarks for this asset. So I think that's okay. And then we skip the asset. Let's just take a look at another asset happening. Or should we just continue? Let's fuck it. Let's continue. Ah, shit, we've got another segfault again. Right, so we haven't fixed anything. Delete project interior, delete landmarks of projects and children, determine project landmarks range. So can we look at what we've been presented with? Do it in a binary search fashion. So this is generation 2 index, generation 0 index 2. Generation 0 index 2. So what have we got? Landmark. Look at the first landmark. For, what is it failing? Well, it couldn't find A, is that what it was saying? Can't access A. So if it couldn't access A, surely it couldn't access, it couldn't set a landmark, is that right? Not sure if that's just because we've segfaulted and we've lost all that information. But I think we should be able to say, should be able to give us a break in here for Gen 0 index 2. Determine project landmarks range 7, 9, 17. Yeah, that's not going to be set, is it? So, yeah. Cinera.css could be a later time through, couldn't it? So we're writing up the stuff. This range. Oh, hang on. Are we just not setting the assets pointer? Where are we? There's the assets block. There's the asset. Now we're writing all this garbage. Yeah, but we haven't cycled the signposted file yet. So that shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. I guess we could just continue through until let's just continue once. Hope we don't crash in the meantime. And we're calling it on line 10.343, is that right? We're calling it on line 10.291. So it's this call that's blowing up. Well, we don't know. Should have actually made a note of it from the other previous backtrations though. Basically, I'd like to be able to look at that asset before we try and pass it through to this person. Oh, hang on, this is reorganized projects interior, so it's not even this person that's failing, is it? We need to get through to delete thingy. We need to get through to here, I think. Cinera landmarks for bitwise. could be a problem when it deletes all 77 of its landmarks and then just gets stuck somehow. Right, here we go. So break here, break here, break here. Why is it telling me so many times? Really wants me to break here. Oops. Was it this we meant to step into? Can't see how it could be. I think it was this, wasn't it? Do we have the asset? I think we do, yeah. So we're looking at Cinera.css. Oh, you know what? I wonder, you know, in the reorganization thing, maybe we're not reorganizing the landmarks of assets that aren't used in this. Does that make sense? In other words, are we not fixing up the product indices of the bitwise .css file? Right, when we're sort of reorganizing risky into its position before bitwise, are we failing to actually fix up the indices for bitwise.css? I think what I'd like to do is index 0. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is, previously bitwise, what we're talking about, generation 2, index 2. So yeah, who would have been having this? Like, this would now be pointing to this person, wouldn't it? Oh no, that probably is right. Yeah, because we've shuffled risky, so it's before bitwise. So we've got 0, 1, 2. So we are trying to target bitwise, at least, which sounds right. So let's continue. It's looking at Cinera.css. Did that actually get anywhere into the thing? Oh, dude. Determine project landmarks range. Indices differ. Well, hold on a second. So landmark would have been incremented. Generation 1, index 0. We're looking at 0, 2. This. What? Result dot first. What's going on here? Is less than the A landmark count. This looks complete garbage, by the way. We're supposed to be incrementing the result dot first. If these don't differ, oh, it's greater than 0. So what? I'm trying to locate. Trying to determine the project landmark range for the 0, 2. We found 1, 0. Cinera.css. What is going on here? Generation 1. Yeah, okay, that sounds fine. Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, generation 0 and index 2. Right, this is probably going to end up with 0, isn't it? Right, okay, fine. So that was 0. Oh, this guy needs to check, doesn't it? It's another one of those situations. Like, all these people are just not bothering to check if that landmark range length is greater than 0. Is it? Is that right? Because that could be set to something garbage. So where's this being used? It's not even being used anywhere. What? What do I think I'm trying to do here? So it's literally just setting it. Delete landmarks of projects and children. I mean, it won't be a problem that it was setting it, because it's not being used. But shouldn't it be being used? Like, shouldn't... There's local arc. Landmark range first. Now we can't use the landmark range first anymore, because that's only local to this thing. Isn't it? For each generation on local arc, write the landmarks to the first landmark in our range, and make the landmarks within our range. Decrement the project index to the range landmarks in this generation. So yeah, I think we need to do a little bit more, right? So we're in the same way that we're doing this here, right? You got the landmark index equals 0 there. I reckon we need to do this. Screw that. We write that out. Go from there, and then you write out up to the arc landmark, right? If you've got one. Don't even know where we're up to. Is it byte? Byte through buffer. Up to the arc landmark, right? I think that's more like it. Then, hopefully, some more people are a bit more right, maybe? Because it's not per generation, is it? That first person needs to get written out. I don't think. Or is it? Maybe it is, actually. Yeah, maybe it was. It's a gen landmark. Oh, and this guy is actually... This guy is talking about that. So what? Yeah, maybe that's bullshit. That we don't need to do this at all. Yeah, I'm going to take that back. The only thing is that this... The only thing that needs to happen here is the landmark deletion count needs to get increased. That's all it is. Right, because this loop is only supposed to be figuring that out. Right, that's what it needs to do. Figure out the landmark deletion count. We don't even need that arc landmark. Who's using that first landmark? So they've been used down there now. Anyone else? Yeah, a few people using it. Just gonna let it run to failure again. Actually need to reload it. Oh right, yeah, I've lost our pointers. Yeah, I'm going to run to failure and then just backtrace it to see exactly what it's getting called and then try and work our way back into it. So we want us to continue to the failure. So we're now getting the failure right on this call. Are we? So delete product top level, delete product interior. So it's the second call to delete product interior. I mean, I assume it's just that this ain't available. So it's segfaulting on where we are, isn't it? Delete product interior. Alright, I'm already doing this wrong. So the signal handler got called. Let's go to line 10185. 10185. We haven't even deleted bitwise yet. Yeah, sadly we haven't actually got to where's my cursor? Now what? Where's my cursor? Quit. Yeah, I just cannot see anything at all. Let's close GDB. I wonder if GDB just got into a weird state and it just started to fail on us. That would be really unfortunate if that is the case. How do you kill this? Doesn't look happy at all, does it? Yeah, it was all that. So let's just try that again. Well, there's our dude gone. Yeah, I mean, if that is a GDB bug, that'd be really unfortunate. What's going on here? I guess they were counted out. So we removed that, I think. Removed that. Ten 815 or something, wasn't it? 10.8.858. 10.815. I can't remember. I can't imagine that it would be a GDB error though, to be honest. You know, I still think it's surely my code that's busted. Yeah, let's just let it continue. Right, we've got the segfault. So this time we've got the segfault here on line 7927, which I think is the original one, isn't it? Can't get the assets. Yeah, for 02. So this is what we had originally. So backtracing. It's a call. So this is where we're crashing. It's a call on 1082, 10082. So let's jump to 10082. Let's quit 10082. I forgot to add the thing, didn't I? Yeah. And I think we do need to make sure that we actually are doing the reorganisation correctly, so that we can actually support just uncommenting it and running it again. This is a bit where we just got rid of that pointer setting, isn't it? It was 02, wasn't it? This guy would need to write out 31 more landmarks. Or at least it just did write out 31 landmarks. So where's the landmark located exactly? At generation 2, index 2. Sounds fine to me. Plus equals the size of that times by that parenthesized. So I can believe that. So the asset is currently at Cinera.css and it's now at Cinera.topics.css, so that looks fine. The landmark count. Yeah, I guess that was the first time, wasn't it? Yeah, actually, where are we? Delete project interior. So yeah, I think this project itself, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it has no entries. Yeah, it's only got children. So I reckon, if I'm not mistaken, none of these should really have to do anything. But is that actually what happens? Right from byte to pointer, writing up to the assets. Could be interesting to see what this does. So let's try and do that. Yeah, again, it's doing sod all. So what that means is that we wrote out the landmarks for the previous asset correctly, as far as I can tell. And we just need to remove this line, essentially. $10.92. Was that the failure? I can't remember why it was failing. It was somewhere like this, actually, wasn't it? I think that was where we were getting the failure. Right, so we got garbage. So we process Cinera Sprite Send Owl, and then we're dealing with a load of garbage. So why would that be? Right, everybody up to Send Owl looked fine, but we're now faced with this situation. Is Send Owl the final person? I think let's go through again. Let's just test against this hash because that's easy to test against. I think these are signed, by the way. So we need to test them against signedness. Yeah, let's do that. And then just see exactly what happens. Because everything needs to be okay, I think, up until that point. Maybe. It's possible we can't actually prove that. Because, where are we? 10.09, 10.065. I don't know why I keep getting popped up to the start of the file, by the way. What? What doesn't that like? Because this asset, we're not modifying the assets. We're not modifying the buffer, rather. So this skip asset should just be able to do its stuff, as if nothing happened. You know, we're not touching this pointer either. We're not modifying it so that it's proper, so that it is different on its when we get out of it. So yeah, let's go into this, step into this case, and just walk through what's going on for this particular thing, and see what looks weird. And also, yeah, let's just quit. Um, 1064 ish. So yeah, let's see if we get it at all. So yeah, we're talking about send owl. Do we know? I guess we could do an ftell on the metadata file handle to see where it thinks it's supposed to be up to. Yeah, I can buy that. So you remember that the bitwise.css file has 77 citations. I assume that's going to be for 76 entries plus the search page. The file that we're talking about here, the Cinera Sprite Sendowl, will only occur on the player pages, on the entries, pages of the entries. So that's going to be all the bitwise take away 1. So that sounds reasonable, right? So 76 of these 915 landmarks should get deleted. So what's happening? Bytes 3 buffer is that. Yeah, right up to the asset. Then write the new thing out and skip past that. Now this thing is going to go over that whole situation again. The whole process of totting up the number of people. The gen landmark deletion count. So let's just follow this through. And it's this thing that I believe after we've done this little loop, it should be using the gen landmark, if possible, to write out up to it. Yeah. And then, having done that, oh, hang on a second. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, then having done that, you skip past the bytes through, but skip past the landmarks that you need to delete for the bytes and for the gen landmark itself. Although this doesn't need to happen. That this incrementation of the gen landmark doesn't matter. Now, did you see what happened there? That landmark didn't get set. Is that right? Arc index should be equal to that. What gen are we talking about here? Gen index 0. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So what is that tail landmark looking like? It's looking like 1 and 0. But if I'm not mistaken, the gen index is 0, isn't it? Didn't we just say? So this shouldn't write out anything, and we should just go straight on to the next generation. So this time we got some stuff. we're going to write up to that gen landmark. Increment past the deletion count, which is like 76, isn't it? Probably. And then increment that gen landmark itself. Although we don't need to. Again, as I keep saying. Landmark index. And what is the tail landmark at this point? That's generation 2 index 2. So yeah, that is after us. And it's correct to be after us. That's probably to do with risky, isn't it? So it's because I need to write up 29 more. Probably for the book projects, Code and Reader. So yeah. Assets block count. So we're up to asset 4. Well, that's definitely not the last one. Right, because there's like 12 or something. 11. But when we skip this, we're faced with garbage. Is that right? Yeah. So maybe, I guess we could have screwed up the relocation, couldn't we? I mean, that's all we've done today, isn't it? The relocation. And the deletion was working before we did the relocation. So let's have a look. Reorganized produce interior. How can we investigate this a bit sensibly? I guess we could start by looking at the assets. Right, let it run, and then look at the assets and just see where everyone is. See if Send Owl is the 4th person. Yeah, let's try that. Well, you can see it right there, can't you? So there's player post. Now we've got Cinera.css 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, it is. So what's after it? After it's hero. I think this is the first one that isn't included in Bitwise, isn't it? Well, or risky, actually. Oh. Ah, yeah, that's a point. So yeah, this is going to be included in everybody that we're relocating. As is that. As is that. And this. And this. But this one isn't. So that could be the problem, couldn't it? Again, we're back up here. Why do they want to put us here? Reorganise. You know, I was definitely down to reorganise, wasn't I? Maybe there's been an update and I need to reboot it or something. So yeah, for each asset, what do we do? Where's the end of it? The end is there. First landmark plus the running landmark index. So yeah, shouldn't the running landmark index be able to just be set to 0? And then just write out all the assets. All the landmarks, rather. This probably won't help in the slightest. So I won't do it. I was going to say, I could just pull this stuff out into its own function. But it really doesn't make a blind bit of difference. So we just go into this and see what happens when we're faced with the hero.css file. Getting the first asset out. Up at the top of the window. Get the first asset out here, then we're skipping that. Yeah, so I reckon let's just jump into here. But no idea what we're up to, by the way. So yeah, I've got a clean slate. So let's run it. Let bitwise generate. Yeah, again, we're back to here. Wait, what? I want to step in to the relocate, reorganize, isn't it? Reorganize projects interior. And it's the assets loop, is what we wanted to get to. So yeah, let's just go down to this. 10.389. So there's Cinera.css. Cinera topics. Cinera player pre. Player post. Send out. And then the next one is going to be hero. So what happens? So we're locating the first landmark. So generation 1, index 0, that sounds fine. That position looks a bit high, doesn't it? Bear with me a sec. Be pretty insane if that's busted. So what they're saying is that generation 1, index 0, which is hero intro to C actually, isn't it? Entry index 0 says, I think they're saying that this person has got this at 2142. Like, there's no way that this is 2142 bytes into the file. Sorry. This. Is there? You know, they're saying that this is 2 kilobytes. What am I missing here? Cinera. I mean, I could understand this being at 2142. Shall we see if that is where that is? How do you do that actually? Okay, so you can tell what the byte number is. And what's he saying? 2142. Hold on a second. Generation 1, index 0. So yeah, generation 1, index 0 is intro to C. And we're talking about entry index 0. Right. Which is by necessity the first one. Well, we saw it, didn't we? 1136. 2164. So there is 2142, right? So that's sprite sendout.png. So why is that? Why is that popping up? Oh, we haven't stepped over this line. That was unfortunate. We just went on a wild goose chase for no reason. Probably. Yeah, that's more like it. Well, at least we found that this is in the right place. Probably. Maybe learn friends that program in C and do vector and maths. How do you do simple stuff like adding, subtracting, multiplying in various forms? Just function that takes two vectors. Well, again, multiplying could be scalar as well. And then just return a vector scalar for if in a product. I think I do something like a format print, but it's format math. Left, right, simple, so that way it's global function call. Prefix notation, ask. Maybe you should ask a random. Yeah, maybe you do need to ask a random. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get an interesting answer out of me because I haven't done any vector maths. I mean, I think what you're saying though is what I would do, probably. Yeah, I mean, you just sort of, it's just like, I don't know, add v2. Take two vectors, add the stuff and return the result, I guess is what I'd do. I mean, what are your options? The only other option I can think of is that you pass it, you pass it a value that you write into. But imagine what's it? It's exactly like a library for its calculations. Good question. I'm not usually Jesse's even like catching the stream, by the way. Let's continue. So when we're looking at Cinera Hero, we don't expect to see any range for this or for the local ACK, do we? Oh. Could that be exactly the problem? If we've got local ACK, then try and do that. Yeah. Yeah, we just, well, I mean, actually, no. Because that ain't gonna get tricky. And the local act range. Yeah, so they're both nothing. Right? If there's a local act landmark, then we write up to that landmark. Ah, I think I see the problem. Oh, maybe not actually, because we've written it up to the asset. Yeah, I guess we haven't written out the actual asset, have we? That's going to be an issue. So yeah, how do you do it? That's the thing to solve, isn't it? Because basically all this is going to do like we still haven't written the asset out. I think that's just the problem. So that's writing out a tail landmark before having written out the actual asset. So that's what we're seeing. So you know later on when you come to the deletion, after doing the send owl, you remember we dereferenced the asset to see what it was, and it was garbage. What we're seeing there is this tail landmark getting written out. So we need to address that problem. 10375. One file. Ten three seven five. So for each asset, I mean, maybe what you do actually after locating the first landmark, just write out up to that first landmark. Just always do it. I think that's it. Because then we'll actually get all the asset headers getting printed out, right? The byte will get incremented correctly. Yeah, let's just say that's what you do. Body pass. File. Yeah, because essentially what happened there was I mean, this is the whole function, isn't it? Is this the person that opens it? Yeah, they open the handle. So, right. There the handle gets opened, and the first thing it does is it writes up to the child that is trying to child asset, the child project. So this is to do with the projects block still, right? It basically comes in and it shuffles the stuff in the projects block, right? And then having done that, it writes up to the asset, which is the first asset, yeah. So it writes up through the asset block up to the point where the first asset is. Right, so it's sitting right there. And then for each asset, it's supposed to actually write out the asset header followed by the landmarks, which it does tend to do. And then it skips the asset and continues writing. But the problem was here, if you can imagine that it writes out the to the first landmarks. Say like we have got this local arc landmark. This write from byte to pointer will write up to that local arc landmark, and then we're going to go. Basically, that's after the asset header, right? So it's going to write out from wherever we're up to, which was at the location of the first asset. We were sitting right there. If we encountered this, then we write out to the first landmark, and that would include the first asset. And then it continues, it goes through all the landmarks for that asset, right? And then having done that, it's sitting there at the next asset, right? So it's ready to go. But the thing is, if you don't hit this, which we didn't, your pointer's still sitting there at that asset. But what have we done? I think we didn't enter any of these cases at all, and I don't think it really matters either way, because even if you had done, it wouldn't have done the right thing, because these guys are all talking about F writing and then incrementing the byte manually, so it's not doing this thing that actually handles the whole stuff for you, right? But in our case, we didn't hit this case. The pointer's still there at the asset. I think we got down to this first landmark plus running in landmark index. So that was that plus nothing, because it hadn't gone through anyone. And then all it does is it F writes out that landmark. It writes out from that landmark the number of landmarks, which is equal to the landmark count, right? So it hasn't written out that asset header, which is the vital bit of information that we needed. Then having done that, it increments the byte. So then the guy, if we get around to this again, this is going to be in the wrong place. It's probably going to write out some more stuff that it shouldn't write out. So it was just all in a complete tangle. Right? So to solve it, all you needed to do when you come in is just make sure you write out that asset header, I think. So let's see if I'm right about that. Probably not. We'll see. Did I change any code? I think I did, didn't I? Yeah, so we're letting these guys come back in. Send them out. Now what happens? And yeah, I don't think we haven't hit the segfault. So yeah, I think we've nailed it. Is bitwise in this list? Ah, that's garbage. So we have not nailed it. And that's for Cinera Hero. .css again. That was probably decrementing a value, wasn't it? That looks suspiciously like the maximum number in a 32-bit value, doesn't it? Just check if, yeah, Jack he's in there. Cool. Really? What we're trying to do? Oh, it should be 1 shifted up by 31, shouldn't it? Yeah, have I just crashed into... Oh. Let's try that one more time. Or rather, shift it up by 31. Yeah, shift up by 32. So what are we saying? And the value was that we saw was this. So yeah, it is, isn't it? It's exactly that. So all we've done is we've just wrapped around. Now, why have we done that? That is 2 to the power 33. So what should that be? 1, 4. One oh. Yeah, this ain't right, is it? Because you've got stuff like you got 10 up here, and then you got 10 down here again. And it's not like it's the same stuff, because 105 down here has 415, and 105 up here has 407. So that's not the same stuff. Let's just run it again and take a closer look at this Cinera.css. Might just take a little screenshot of this little portion as well, just to get a bit of a handle on what's going on. So what do? Run it. It was Cinera Hero, wasn't it? That was the person we were looking at. So this is definitely shorter, isn't it? So there's 382 guys here. Whereas here, there's more than that. So it looks like we've screwed up. Printing out just too many people, basically, isn't it? Oh, do we not increment the... Are we forgetting to increment the dude? Well, no, we do increment the byte by the size of a DV landmark times that to the running landmark index. So the landmark is equal to the first landmark plus the running landmark index. Right from byte to pointer. Assets. First landmark. So that should be okay, I think. Shouldn't it? The decrementing of things happens here. Should we just go in again until we meet hero.css and just look at it more closely? I don't know if that's reasonable. Local ACK range first. This range. Like, I don't remember seeing us go into any of these cases. Yeah, this range length. Look at that range. So these guys were not doing anything. And then what was this guy doing? If it's the same generation, then it'll write out that guy, increment the bytes through. I think that's the right thing to do, isn't it? And then it increments the running landmark index and that. I guess I'm a bit bamboozled as to why we're ending up decrementing those values though. So that's what we need to figure out. Yeah. So we've just built, haven't we? Let's remove our people. And let's dive in to, who is it? Real Enterprise Interior. 10332. Shouldn't that have actually let us break a bit more often? Let's try again. Scorpio. Hey, dude. Did you pick up my answer to the the stuff, by the way, to the vector maths question? If you didn't, then I guess you were very fortunate because it wasn't that helpful. Probably wasn't anyway. I think Daughter's wondering if it was a what are you wondering? Vector maths in what sense? Like a library or for vector calculations? So we're looking at Cinera.css. Cinera topics. Play pre. Play post. Is this going to be send out? Yeah. And then here we go, we've got Handmade Hero. Talking like rectification around does useful to do it. Yeah. Overloading, yeah, you can't overload in C. Live virtual. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Because you want to be able to write something like, well, I don't know. Well, let me just do like a vector A, and then like kind of do this kind of stuff and times by vector C, you know, that kind of stuff. Which we definitely can't do. Moving to bulk what? Moving to C. I was wondering if C++ was banned in here. So this is trying to locate the first landmark, which does seem to be a legit landmark. Right, and then it's writing out that landmark. Oh shit, I should have actually looked to see how much it wrote. That could have been helpful. I think these guys are all nothing, aren't they? So we don't get in there, don't get in here. That is going to be something. Probably the same as the first guy, yeah. So we then see if we're on the same generation index. We're not. So we go on to the next one. And now what do we have? Nothing, which is still okay. We don't get through here. We do find, however, that... What's the running index? Oh, that's going to be a problem. Ain't it? Yeah, I think that is going to be a problem. Or is it? No, maybe not. It wasn't our gen. Was it anything for generation 0? I mean, there wouldn't have been, so maybe we're still in the clear. Probably not, though. But no, this is the generation 1. So this is just saying output them. Right. So we've written out the handmade hero.css asset header, and we're now writing out these people. No, the asset landmark counts. Yeah, so we should just be writing out assets. Sorry, writing out landmarks that are in generation 1 for handmade hero. Incrementing the running landmark index as it goes. And incrementing the byte through the file as well, through the buffer. And then I think this was the end of the loop, wasn't it? This was the actual generations loop, yeah. So the idea here is that we've got through all of the generations that we need to talk about. And we're now just outputting the remaining landmarks for this asset. So it reckons it needs to output 0 more assets. So what's its problem? We're now talking about icon filter. I think I might have to I might have to call this a day actually, and just pick it up again tomorrow, because I'm not sure I can see what could be the problem. I guess we could make it output the print the asset thingamajigs at this point. Yeah, we could totally do that actually, to at least get a bit of a handle on what's going on. It's risky. They've got bitwise, which all needs to go. So topics, and then here's our stuff that's just tough to read. I think, what could this be? That's the type. This is the hash. So I think 7F01 is our hash value for the number of entries. Is that right? 7401. Where are we? What was it? And also it's probably the other way around. 383. I can imagine that being kind of correct. Yeah, I can imagine that being correct. Right, so there, that would have happened. And if we were to just do here, print assets block, should we just take a quick gander? So basically what we're going to do is and then let's make it sleep for like 4 seconds. Just so we can kill it before it continues. Because it's possible that after all this, the relocation is actually correct. And it's the deletion that's not right, somehow. Sleep 4. So that was sleeping right there, was it? So I guess it didn't print the assets block. So it's, yeah, it wouldn't have had any assets to print. Oh, did I actually remember to? No, I didn't. Let's try that once more. Yeah, I'm not sure about making it commercial. Oh, actually, no. I was thinking of just letting it happen, wasn't I? So there's our printout. Sync Cinera. So yeah, I mean that does actually look plausible, doesn't it? So is it just in the deletion that now it's just screwed? Two, 3. Are there enough of those? Are there enough of those? That's a good question. Yeah, I mean there could be actually. Yeah, because there's these pieces of the garbage. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, generation 0. What generation was that saying? 2, 3, wasn't it? Hold on. 2, 3, yeah. So what's that? Generation 0, generation 1, and generation 2. Oh, right, so 0, 1, and then, right, 2 and 3 would be coad and reader. So yeah, that could be plausible. I mean, I could buy that, that's right. I'm convinced. So should we just have a quick look at the deletion, just to see if there's anything obvious before we leave it? Did we change anything in here at all today? I don't even think that we're using that, by the way. We are doing the cycle signposted file, which uses the edit sizes, but I don't think that we even really use that stuff. Oh, surely it's not another case of it's just not writing out enough dudes, is it? Could it be? I mean, I suppose it could. Could it? Do you write out the new asset? It's now got 0 assets. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it could, actually. Should we just try that? Alright. Same deal again, just make sure that we print out the actual... Well, hang on. No, because we just printed out that new asset. So we don't need to care about that not having been written, do we? Right, we write up until that A. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, this is right, isn't it? Yeah, because it's just a regular pointer to an A. So we're just dereferencing that there, and then passing that here. And then we're writing up to that, doing that, then we're setting that past the asset. So we'll continue on our way. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I can't see anything obvious in there. Let's just do the let's do the thing. Let it do its sleep. Can sleep commercially for now, but it's a bit of a hack. Because I do need to clean that up a bit more. I think it needs a bit more polish. You got to innovate on this thing. Get the polishing going. Oh right, yeah. You actually need to print out the print. You got to do the print before the sleep, so you actually get a chance of seeing it. See what I mean about the polish? Did I remember to delete the thing? Yeah. So yeah, let's take a quick gander as it flies past. I mean, it's not going to be any different, is it? Right? So that's 382 thingamajigs there. Oh, mind you, yeah, I could have done with... It's now busted, but I could have done with seeing it before going through with this whole process. Jesus Christ. What was I trying to do? I was trying to look at the... Yeah, immediately after deleting. No, let's just try that. Let's invoke the program once more. Right, so basically, immediately after doing the deletion, I'd just like to see what the thing's looking like. Have we actually lost bitwise, by the way, at least? Yeah, we do seem to have done. By the way, I know that I'm a bit snarky about the word innovation. Well, I do totally love it. It's just that I think it's just bandied around too soon. I think innovation is a concept that is it's an assessment that's applied after something has attained some sort of status, some sort of currency, really. And I think if anybody's talking about the stuff that they're doing as being innovative, then they're just bullshitting you because they can't know if it's innovative while they're doing it. That's basically my take on it. So yeah, print the first thing. Break there. Open commercially 1. Oh shit! Yeah, I need to bollocks. It's pretty commercially 1 and 2. I'm still not very exactly sure why I was seeing so many break here's, by the way. Yeah, so let's do it 1 and then 2. And then we can quit. Pretty sure that I told some of those break here's to stop happening. Yeah, okay, so 0's now screwed up there. Right, perfect. So what we're actually getting happening is these guys getting decremented by 1. And then for some reason, when the actual rest of the program happens, It's just piling up a load of these dudes for some reason. It just hasn't been able to find the right people, I guess. So it's the deletion, is what we're saying. And the decrementing is only happening here. So what is the purpose of this? Deletion. Local arc. This arc. So what we're doing is we are trying to delete bitwise. So what is local arc actually? So local arc is being passed in. So if I'm not mistaken, that's simply bitwise's own accumulator. The local arc is effectively this arc. Right, so it's this is the person that we're trying to delete. Oh, I know what the problem is, don't I? Yeah, right. So we need to know actually where people are in relation to us. That's what we need to know, right? Because we're currently just carte blanche, I think, aren't we? Maybe not actually. The local arc. Are we not producing a different arc in here, by the way? There's the local arc. The general arc. Because basically what I'm saying is, bitwise occurs after hero, right? So when you delete bitwise, you don't need to care about offsetting the indices of hero, because hero occurs before it anyway. So where do we get that information from? We've got main arc, and we've got local arc, which is talking about, again, that's talking about bitwise, I reckon. So main. We've accumulated into main hero and risky. Right, by the time we got down to the deletion, we've accumulated hero and risky. It's possible that we're decrementing risky as well, actually. But we don't spot it because these values are greater than 0, basically. Or greater than -1. Or I suppose greater than -4 billion, whatever it was. Well, not minus, but 4 billion positive. But yeah, we've accumulated into main some stuff. Don't we always know, actually? That if we're deleting somebody, we don't have to be decrementing anybody's indices. Don't we know that? Because we've shuffled everyone such as that they're all positioned after everyone else. Are they not? So what I'm basically suggesting is, do we just say don't bother with that? And that's the end of it. Does that make sense? Sounds a bit daft now that I think about it. Because surely you want to be able to like delete from a non-final location, but by the same token, we're never doing that. I don't think. So let's just run it. Just let that not happen. Run the whole stuff and just see what we're presented with. Because that might be the whole mix-up. And it was probably okay before because we weren't actually reorganising the stuff. But now that we are reorganising it, we just need to make sure that we don't actually do what we were previously doing. Either that, or we actually check where we are in relation to everyone else before just straight up decrementing that value. Bitwise is still there, which is a little bit unfortunate, isn't it? Hero's still looking okay, isn't it? Yeah, I think that looks okay to me. Bitwise still being there. Oh, no it's not. Cinera underscore bitwise.css is not there. So what was I looking at? So I'll tell you what I think I'm looking at. Yeah, so that was before the deletion. So it's after the deletion what I'm trying to look at. So there's Cinera topics. There's sender. Oh, here's hero. Yeah. And that is looking okay to me, I think. Bitwise has nothing in it. So yeah, I mean we could actually, after doing this whole stuff, you could say delete stale assets. If you want, because that will be happening at some point. It's just that it doesn't happen yet. So it needs a neighbourhood in order to do that, doesn't it? So do we have that neighbourhood? Not yet. That only happens here. So yeah, I mean, I suppose we just let that. Why do we need the neighborhood for delete stale assets? Like, who cares about that? Oh, it's just for the update neighborhood pointers. Well, let's prevent it from taking that. And just instead say this. Right? Because everyone who's calling it has it available. And then we can just call delete stale assets. I think. Oh yeah, and then the signpost. So let's just try that one more time. I think we're in the clear now. But before we get too complacent, I reckon we should actually test it a bit more extensively than we're doing at the moment. What have we just done? Yeah, we just told it not to. We just told it to delete that stale asset. So what we should see is when we run the program again. Let it sleep commercially for the second time. So there's Cinera bitwise. Look, it's still there. Sleeping. Is that just because you haven't got down to that call? Yeah, it will be. That's unfortunate. So yeah, that needs to happen there. Try that one more time. I think before we go, we could get rid of those break here's, by the way. Yeah, and there you can see Risky's now disappeared. Sorry, bitwise has disappeared from the print. So yeah, break here, break here, break here. Let's get rid of those guys, and then we can all go home. I guess we can stop sleeping commercially as well. We don't need to print the assets block necessarily. But let's leave it there just while we do that. Oh, it's probably for this, wasn't it? What's this? Okay. Just out of interest, let's just run it and see what happens. And then let's add the dudes back in. Right, so we're not in the clear in the slightest. Locate first child project. So let's leave this until tomorrow. That is unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, let's leave it until tomorrow. It's 2:30. So thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here, for being beautiful, fantastic, and for doing some vector mathematics. Let's put into the first child project for that. For the P header entry. Ah, first child project. Yeah, right. So we probably do need to check that, don't we? And that's been called in accumulate project indices. Reorganize projects top level. So if the pointer is P, return that pointer. So yeah, we can't really dereference that. Well, I mean, that's not a dereference, is it? That's simply casting that to a car star. So that could happen, couldn't it? Without crashing. And then we can return that pointer, even if it's null. Can't we? So what I'm basically suggesting is, do this. Right. And then wherever that's happening, where is that complaining? Look at first job produce and accumulate opportunity. So doesn't like this. Child. And it was literally in getting that P. Accumulate produce indices. Accumulate produce interior. What? This guy, is it? This. Let's get rid of children. '41. So yes, parent. Yeah, I don't know. Let's leave it. Let's do it tomorrow. Or if not tomorrow, on Monday. And yeah, the problem is seeming to be something in locate first child project. Should we just make the note down in syncdb? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the 0-page read, isn't it? Investigate the 0-page read of P in locate first child project when yeah, to trigger it, what we did was generate the stuff, remove comment out bitwise and P and regen to generate the stuff. Comment out bitwise and P and regen. And then sort of uncomment. Yeah, to try and reorganize. Risky. Well, hold on a minute. It's going to be seen bitwise, so it needs to be saying. Oh, are we trying to reorganize somebody to occur later rather than prior to where it used to be? I think that might be what we're trying to do. I think that might be it. We just haven't tried that yet. So blimey. Yeah, the saga continues next time on Practising Programming in C. So yeah, definitely this time. Thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here and for being commercial. Until next time, farewell for now.